Hey everybody, I'm Brian Bauman from Bauman's Farm and Garden, and picking the right tomato plant can be really tough. There's tons of different varieties. Every single plant here is a different type of tomato. They all look the same, so which one do you pick? And the answer really comes down to what do you want to do with the tomato. If you want your tomatoes to come on all at once and have this big bounty of tomatoes, like if you're making a big batch of salsa or tomato sauce, you want a determinate variety. One of my favorite determinate varieties is Oregon Spring. Oregon Spring was developed at Oregon State University. It's a local hybrid of two different varieties. It is, not only will it kind of take our colder nights early in the spring better, but it also produces super early. A lot of times people come in and tell me, Brian, my tomato plants, I paid them too late. I didn't get any tomatoes. Oregon Spring, I have had tons of customers have really good luck, but it's a determinate tomato, so it's gonna produce all of them all at once. The other variety of tomato is an indeterminate variety, which means that it kind of just keeps growing. It's not a determined size, so it's gonna keep producing tomatoes throughout the season, which is really nice if you just wanna go out and get a fresh tomato to put on your hamburger that night or to mix in your pasta, whatever it may be. This one I have in my hands right here is called Mortgage Lifter. This is one of the largest heirloom varieties of tomatoes, thus it's like the size of a mortgage. It can grow up to 3-pound tomatoes, which are giant. Heirloom varieties are kind of those varieties that have been passed down from generation to generation. A lot of the newer varieties are hybrids, which are great, but sometimes those heirlooms have just the best flavor. Mortgage Lifter, Brandywine is another one that we have at the farm that does really well. There's also some new varieties of tomatoes though that are more compact, that are more designed for containers. My mom has a big garden, she's got lots of tomatoes, but I was hoping you guys today could help me do a little early Mother's Day present for her. She loves, loves, loves fresh tomatoes. So I picked out a couple different varieties that we're gonna plant in this pot. And it's also going to give me a great opportunity to talk to you about some of the tips and tricks that we use when planting a tomato. So let me get this all ready and I'll show you exactly what I mean. All right, so I've got my soil put in here and it made me kind of think, something new you may find at Bauman Farms this year is we've switched our potting soil. For a long time we've used black gold, which is great, we love them, but they've moved everything to the East Coast. They don't have any local support. And to us it's really important to support local businesses, which is why many of you come out to Bauman Farms and we appreciate that. We try to do the same thing. We have a brand new potting soil this year called Edna's Best. It's made right in Sherwood, great local support, great people, great products. It's what I'm using for my mom, for her Mother's Day pot. I wanted to kind of bring you guys up to speed on why you find some different stuff. When you're planting tomatoes, use a really good all-purpose potting soil for your container. That's great. The other thing is I really like to use, this is a Spomas tomato tone. It's an all-organic fertilizer. The nutrients that are in here are going to help with the disease resistant, help prevent blossom end rot, all of those good things. It only takes about 3 tablespoons per plant. We're gonna put 2 in here, so we're just gonna put a couple, 5 or 6 tablespoons in here. We'll mix it into the soil. I want it to be in just the top part of the pot. That's where the roots are really gonna get in and get started. So once we have that mixed in, I've selected 2 different tomatoes. This one is called Bush Steak. It's a like a medium-sized slicing tomato. It's not gonna get super big, which is why it's great for containers. So we're gonna use one of these. And this pot is big enough, I think I can put 2 in here. The other container tomato we have is called Baby Boomer. It produces more tomatoes than Bush Steak. They're a little bit smaller, but like for salads or pasta, stuff like that, which my mom loves to put fresh tomatoes in. I'm gonna try both of these in here. And I never get enough time to make stuff for Mother's Day because we're always busy, so this is a perfect opportunity. One of the tricks when planting tomatoes is you'll see tomatoes have hairs all up and down the roots of the stalk. Sometimes you'll find tomatoes like a foot tall. That's okay, don't freak out. What we're gonna do is take the leaves off the bottom and we're gonna plant this all the way down, and all of those hairs along that stalk are gonna turn into roots. It's gonna give us a much bigger plant later on, and it may look kind of funny at first, but we're really gonna put this deep. Out in the field, sometimes we'll like lay them down in the ground, because we want as much in here as possible. So we're gonna do that with both of them. Rough up those roots a little bit so they get in and get that tomato tone. and then we're gonna plant them way down in here. We're growing almost 20 different varieties of tomatoes this year. So there's lots of different varieties to choose from. I'm really excited. I think my mom, she just loves fresh tomatoes. This is gonna be something she really enjoys doing. You wanna make sure that you keep your tomatoes watered for a long time. Keep them well watered. They take a lot of water. It keeps them from getting blossom end rot or other diseases. If you let them dry out, they kind of become more susceptible. So keep the water on here. Until late in the summer, we're gonna end up with these big bushes of tomatoes, and sometimes they don't ripen up fast enough. Think of a plant's job is to reproduce, right? It's to produce these fruit, to get the seeds, and then the seeds are gonna bring up the next plants next year. If that plant thinks that the end of its life is coming pretty soon, it's gonna hurry up and get that reproduction done. It's gonna get those tomatoes ripened. So I usually tell people about the middle of July, stop fertilizing, stop watering, let them dry almost completely out, make them think that now is the time to get my work done, so that come August, you have these big, beautiful, wonderful tomatoes all for the rest of the summer and into the fall. We're very excited to have all of these varieties out. You want to kind of wait till the last frost, and I think we finally made it this year. Come out to the farm, we'll help you pick the right tomatoes and get something going for your mom for Mother's Day.